Good morning and aloha. On behalf of the World War II veterans, members, and Board of Directors of the 100th Infantry Battalion Veterans Organization in Honolulu, Hawaii, I would like to welcome you to the second half of today's Memorial Day service. A big domo arigato to Steve Okamoto, to everyone who participated in the Memorial Day ceremony, and to those who worked behind the scenes to bring this first ever virtual Memorial Day event honoring our Japanese American veterans to fruition. My name is Jane Hirata, and I have been involved with the 100th for more than 20 years in various capacities. And currently I am the writer and editor of the 100th monthly newsletter, The Puka Puka Parade. My mother's uncle, Donald Hamada, was a 100th veteran in Headquarters Company, and my father's uncle, Jesse Hirata, was in Baker Company of the 100th, and another, Senji Murakami, served with the 1399th Engineer Construction Battalion. My goal in putting together this educational program was to showcase the many ways the Japanese American World War II veterans are remembered and honored all over the world and across generations. I hope the panel of speakers in this segment will serve as a reminder that the story of our Nisei veterans is not just a Japanese American story or a military story, but a story for all humanity. I'm not very tech savvy, and this is my first time being the MC for a Zoom event. So I'd like to say gomen nasai in advance for any mistakes that may happen, like I disappear from the screen, one of my kids walks behind in the background, or my dogs start barking loudly for no reason. Just a reminder to our viewers that this program is being recorded. You will be muted, but are invited to join in the conversation in the chat room. Or if you have any questions for our presenters, please put them in the question and answer area. Due to time restrictions, we may not be able to get to your questions during the program, but I will forward them to the appropriate participant after we wrap up today. We will also post their social media links at a later date. Starting off, the educational program today will be an excerpt from the 2019 documentary, Back to Bruyers, The Legacy of the 100th, produced, written, and edited by Pamela Young. The documentary focuses on the history of the wartime events in northeastern France, which confirmed the reputation of the 100th Infantry Battalion and the 442nd Regimental Combat Team as the fiercest fighting units in the European theater during World War II. The documentary also takes us to France to witness the everlasting bond between the people of Bruyers and Bifontaine and the Japanese American soldiers who liberated their towns. Following the video, there will be a live interview session with Honolulu-based producer of Back to Bruyers, Pamela Young. So please send any questions you may have for her in the question and answer section. Thank you.
The fall of France was the feather in Hitler's cap. The Nazi occupation would formulate an intense Allied campaign that would send forces to all borders.
For the Nisei, the campaign started here in Marseille and then moved north to Aix-en-Provence and Avignon, and finally to the region of France known as the Grand Est, very close to the German border.
There they joined the 36th Division of the 7th Army under General John Dahlquist, an ambitious two-star general with no combat experience. His orders: take the German-occupied village of Bruyers.
I don't think they realize what a difficult ground we had to traverse. There's 4 hills above Bruyers, and we had to take those hills for the town to be free.
Well, like in Bruyers, that was really a battle that we had to fight because they didn't give up, the Germans.
Après plusieurs jours de combat, les premiers Américains ont percé. Ils sont hawaïens. Les Allemands se sont finalement rendus et ont mis les mains en l'air. Nous sommes très heureux.
The French were overjoyed to see us, but then after the liberation, we witnessed the town's wrath on collaborators. Male collaborators were beaten. Female collaborators were shaved bald and marched through town.
The Hawaiians gave candies to my son, cigarettes to my husband, and they paid me for the cabbages they took from my garden, and even asked my permission to do so.
It was a victorious march through the liberated village. They march again today.
It's just really incredibly moving. I mean, I'm choking up just being here and thinking about the history, and to read Audrey's uncle's war memoirs, talking about fighting in that hill, probably right over there. Irreplaceable.
De toute façon, on continuera à faire tous les ans les anniversaires parce que c'est ancré dans l'histoire de Bruyères.
People from Hawaii and people from France celebrating what it means to fight for peace. And I just feel honored to be here, to be part of this 75th anniversary.
At nearly every corner, Bruyères honors the Nisei.
George Washington Tsuyama was an ordinary soldier just like thousands of others that came and fought and died. And I didn't want him to be forgotten.
His whole identity, I think, was formed around being here, fighting with his brothers. I'm sorry. And so to be here, where it all happened, is everything.
Now that I'm actually on site, I guess you can tell I'm choked up. And so there's family history here. And that means a lot. And so there are 3 of us, 2 of his nephews and 1 niece. I'm hoping he feels our presence.
12-year-old Michel Perrat watched as Yohei and his unit marched out of the woods past his father's farm. Soon after, an explosion sent a shard of shrapnel into Yohei's throat. He was the first to die in the Val-Cervelon. He was 22. After the war, despite extreme poverty, the townspeople scraped up enough francs for a wooden monument, later replaced by stone. Michel's father vowed that the Perrat family would watch over it. Michel, now 87, has tended to the stone for 70 years, keeping it clear of dust and weeds, tasks his son Pierre-Frédéric will soon take over. The gifts are letters, pictures, and snacks, but what is really being exchanged here is gratitude for a promise to a fallen soldier and for a life given for a family's freedom.
On Saturday, memorial services were held. I didn't go. You know how I feel about funerals. There are many sad memories of friends who fell in battle. Young, fresh-faced, eager. What a price they paid for all of us.
It's an inspiration to every person that takes an oath to defend the country. People before did heroic things, and you are carrying on their legacy.
There's a lot of people, Yonsei generation, that don't know about the 442nd Regiment and the 100th Battalion, and this is an incredible story to share.
I only got about 13 years with my grandfather. It kind of brings to light who were part of my family.
Being Jewish, I never would have been born. So the sacrifice of these soldiers not only liberated France, but they saved the lives and liberated the United States.
My father, one of his dying wishes was that I come here to visit. So this wasn't only just a opportunity to visit my grandfather, but also to make good on a wish that my father had.
His granddaughter married a Frenchman, so married the people that he helped save. So the blood he shed was truly not in vain.
They have come in search of that final piece of the puzzle of an unspoken past. Perhaps here at Epinal, they will find some measure of peace and a deeper understanding of the legacy that is now theirs to uphold.
Wow, thank you, Pamela Young. Every time I watch that, I cry, so I have my big roll of toilet paper ready because there's so many familiar faces on there. I would like to invite everyone to welcome the incredible Pamela Young. She is like family to everybody in Hawaii. We love her mixed plate television specials. We watch her on the news. We read her midweek column. But Pamela, would you introduce yourself to the folks from the mainland and internationally who may not know you as well as we do?
For sure. And thank you for inviting me. And at least you have toilet paper.
I'll send you some as payment for doing the program today.
Okay. Now, am I doing something wrong here? Because I don't, you can see me, right?
I see you and hear you. Great. I think
Okay,
everybody.
fine. Well, I'm a reporter and a journalist at KHON TV. And previously, I worked in San Francisco at KPIX and KQED. And Back to Bruyere is my, I think it's a 114th documentary. And I just found out a couple of weeks ago, it's been nominated for an Emmy. So I'm so thankful to everyone who participated and who went on this journey with us. And of course, the Nisei who went on the original journey. So we're very happy about that.
I'm wondering, those of us that are big mixed plate fans, we're used to seeing you travel to these exotic locations, eat incredible food. What made you decide to focus on this topic of the Nisei veterans?
Well, I did a previous show with Ed Hawkins Jr., who is the director of the Department of Economic Development in Honolulu. And he's a veteran. He served in Frankfurt. And on the weekends, he said he and his wife would like to drive through Europe. And they passed by this tiny town called Bruyere. And the red carpet was rolled out for them. And he was told about this annual observance they have and that they were planning a big one for the 75th. So he told me about it. And it was a difficult project to pass through the bureaucracy because, of course, it's so expensive to go over there and to plan a trip like that. But KHON felt that it was definitely worth it. It's the 75th anniversary, and it is unlikely that there's going to be much participation for the 80th. So they felt this is it. This is the year to do it.
Why do you feel it's important for people to know the story of the World War II veterans, especially people who are not Japanese American?
I think it's especially important because, well, this year we're celebrating the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II. And for a lot of people, that also means, the end of an era. We are seeing the last of the greatest generation. And a lot of people are coming to realize the contributions that Asian Americans made during World War II. And also in this year when we are getting prejudice and misconceptions, it's important to remind people, we are, our ancestors were a part of your freedom. So, I'm glad that we were able to do this when we did.
Great. People are asking, where can they see the documentary in its entirety?
They can go to khon2.com.
And would you, sorry. Go ahead.
So, yeah, khon2.com, and just type in Back to Bruyere, and it should pop up.
Great. And would you let everyone know how they can get in touch with you if they have any questions? All the comments are just kudos about the excellent documentary.
Sure. It's pamela.young@khon2.com.
Great. Thank you so much, Pamela, for the hard work. And I was lucky to get to meet you. You're one of my idols here. As you were doing the things in Hawaii, and I heard that everyone in the group enjoyed having a celebrity with them in Bruyere and Fontaine. So thank you again, and I look forward to see you on TV really soon.
Thank you for inviting me. Aloha.
Aloha too.